The Milwaukee Bucks sit at 6-0 right now on the season, and they've had a pretty dominant start of the year without Khris Middleton or Pat Connaughton. Obviously, Pat Connaughton is a key role player, and Khris Middleton is arguably, if not definitely, the second best guy on that roster. So it's pretty surprising to see how dominant the Bucks have been, but it hasn't always been pretty. They had a very close game to start the season against the Sixers, but since then, they've been fairly dominant. They had close games against the Hawks and then the Pistons, which I will get into that game a little bit more because of how good it was. But they pretty much wrapped up the Hawks immediately around the end of the game there. It was close for a couple seconds, but a couple timely steals. They made their free throws. They made some very nice rebounds. You'll see probably a few of those plays on the screen right now, but they made some great, very high effort plays in order to take over the final seconds of that game, and they took it from a game that was potentially a buzzer beater away from the Hawks upsetting the Bucks to a 123-115 win. And if you really watch that game in depth, it was very impressive by how well the team played, how easily they were able to kind of flip the script on that one. They went from, as I said, a game that was extremely close, a game that was in the fouls. The Hawks were fouling them to stop the clock because they felt like they had a chance to win, to a game where you finish the game with Jrue Holiday getting a steal, lobbing it up or sending it down the court to Giannis, and he dunks it, and it's 123-115 in a matter of 30 seconds. I mean, it was crazy how well they finished that game, and that's one of those things that I think the Bucks have as an advantage over a lot of other teams. They seem to always keep their composure. Sure, they might not have the flashiest or the best all-around players on their roster outside of Giannis, Khris, and Jrue, but they do have guys that are down to earth. They have guys that are very, very efficient at what they do, and they very rarely falter from that. Now, obviously, we're not going to be undefeated forever. We're 6-0 right now, and even the Pistons, a team that has impressed a lot of people lately, gave us some trouble the other night. It went down to the wire. It was a tough game to finish off against the Pistons, and I'm very impressed with how well they played, because a young team like that is a team that definitely has a bright future if they're able to keep with the Bucks just like that. 110-108 was the final score of that one. It ended basically on a Jrue Holiday, not a buzzer beater, not a game winner because we were already up, but a dagger by Jrue Holiday. But the Pistons fought back, and they fought back hard. Detroit was down by 16 at one point, and they did tie it with just under a minute remaining before, as I mentioned, Jrue Holiday hit the three. So they have now have an opportunity to match the best franchise start in the franchise history with 7-0 if they win tomorrow night against the Pistons, and this would also give them or help them retain their identity as the final undefeated team in the NBA. But they did defeat the Detroit Pistons for the 14th time last night. Unfortunately for us, it looks like they're going to be back and playing even harder than they were the other night, so it's going to be very tough to get down and go to Detroit and take that young, fiery squad down. But the Pistons aren't who we're talking about today. Today we are talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a big Bucks fan, but they are playing amazing. It took Jrue Holiday a little bit of time to get going, I would say. He had moments in those first few games where he looked pretty dominant, but for the most part, he struggled across the first few games, and now he's improved marginally. He's got about 19 points per game. He's shooting 39% from the field, and 35% from three, which are two things that you would like to get up a little bit. But as the main ball handler, he's still getting us a good amount of things on the other side of the floor. 8 assists a game. He's getting about 5 rebounds per game, give or take a few. So he's having a very solid year, only about 1.8 turnovers a game, so I apologize for that, but about 2.7 turnovers a game. So he's been having a bit of a down year in that category, but nothing too crazy. About 2 steals a game as well, and the Bucks have just been playing suffocating defense. Now, obviously, traditionally wise, they don't ever really have that many, statistics near the top of the league right now. If we look at statistics wise, as far as steals per game, they're 23rd. If we look at blocks wise, they are second behind, surprisingly, the Brooklyn Nets. The Milwaukee Bucks average about 7.7 blocks a game. We can probably take that up to about 8 blocks a game, and they only get blocked about 4.5 times a game, which is a very good margin for error there. Obviously, they don't have a lot of turnovers either. They sit right around the 11th mark of turnovers a game, so they're pretty efficient when they get on the floor, and their defense may not be the flashiest, but they are a very suffocating defense. They currently only allow 103.8 points per game to their opponent, which is first in the NBA. They have about 22 or about 22nd in assists per game, so that number could definitely come up a little bit. But rebounds per game, obviously, they are first there, 51 rebounds per game and 19th in points per game, so 112 points per game. But they are very, very good at getting those buckets when they need to get them, and also preventing the other team, as I mentioned, from getting a lot of points, which is, at the end of the day, if we're being honest, just the main, obviously the most important part of the NBA. I mean, as long as you score more than the other team, you know, you're going to be pretty good. But the Bucks have started out very dominant, a quick 6-0, and with a chance now to tie their all-time record for 7-0, which is something that they have only done in 2 seasons, 1970 and 2018, which is a crazy mark if they were able to get it. Obviously, it's going to be a tough fight because the Pistons already know what to expect with the Bucks, and they also fought very hard the other night, so they're going to be hungry for that win. The Pistons have been impressive this year, so it's not a pushover game, and I'm excited to see how this Bucks team can continue to move forward because they look like the real deal this year. A lot of people were kind of counting them out. You know, there's so many teams in the NBA that have improved. Cleveland, Atlanta, there's so many teams that have gotten new pieces, you know, teams that have gotten better. The Warriors have gotten a lot of good young pieces, stuff like that. And the Bucks were a very easy team to count out because they didn't make any flashy signings. Their major signing in the offseason was a guy named Joe Ingles who tore his ACL. He's a 35-year-old coming off of an ACL tear. Who knows how good he's going to be next or when he finally comes back. And they're missing Khris Middleton. They're missing Pat Connaughton. So I will say it was very easy to overlook the Bucks, but as long as we have Giannis, he is going to lead us to the promised land. I do not doubt that for 1 second. What a great start by the Bucks so far. If you did enjoy this video, just a little bit of a recap to the start of the season for the Milwaukee Bucks. I know it's been a bit of a weird start to the season because so many good teams are doing bad. So I am thankful that the Bucks are not following that trend up and they are actually performing to their level, if not higher at this point in the season. But what do you guys think about the Bucks so far? Do you think it's a bit of a bit of a facade to say they are kind of not as good as they show they are? But Brook Lopez has been a guy that I do want to talk about before this video ends. I want to mention how good Brook Lopez has been because he has been the anchor of that Bucks defense and that Bucks offense when Giannis hasn't been performing well, which isn't very often, and I don't believe would be something that, or is something that's happened yet this season because Giannis has performed pretty well in every game. But when Brook needs to be that guy, he has consistently been that guy. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Brook Lopez in general and the Milwaukee Bucks so far in general. Do you think they have a chance, a serious chance to get back to the NBA Finals? I do, but I'm a little biased, so I'd love to hear your unbiased opinions. As always, if you did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. It would help me out so much. Also, help yourself out and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.